Kashmir Files that felt to us like a propaganda vulgar movie.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Headlines, the show where we talk about matters pertaining to India's internal security and also matters of geopolitical influence that come into India's perspective. And as always, joining me is our senior correspondent Vicky Najappa. Vicky, welcome to Beyond the Headlines once again.
Thanks, Akash. Thank you so much.
So, Vicky, interesting topic that we have today on the show. Though it is not a matter of internal security, but it's a matter of India's internal matter and how the world views matters of India in a global perspective. So, the Kashmir Files, we all know the movie that talks about the horrendous genocide of Kashmiri Pandits and their exodus from Kashmir in the 1990s. That was being featured in IFFI, which is a government-run, event. And over there, an Israeli filmmaker, commented saying that the film was vulgar. And after that, there was a lot of, diplomatic pressure from both the sides. And in fact, a lot of people from Israel and from the Israeli, consulate also came forward and said that this was just a one-off, incident. And the community, the Israeli community and the people of Israel do not second that motion. So first of all, now what is very ironic about this whole situation, Vicky, is that an Israeli person, saying this thing and considering the history of the Jews and what happened to the, unfortunate incidents that happened to the Jew community during the World War II. We all remember that, and one would always think that when such kind of an incident happened with you, you always show sympathy to another section of the society which had undergone a similar horrendous experience. But why there is this kind of a hypocrisy?
That actually seems to be gelling too well these days, Akash. Hypocrisy, and then everything that we do, is treated as it's not a big problem at the end of it. One, while we do understand that the thing is, I mean, in terms of statistics, since the 1990s, why have 5 lakh Kashmiri Pandits had to leave their homes? One, the sermons that came out of the mosques, the kind of messages that were put out, all those things, this is not something that has, been created, or for that matter, I would say that, it's not, like what they would like to call every culture of ours as mythology, basically. Everything that happened in India is a myth, according to them. So, while I don't find this surprising at all, I thought the movie Kashmir Files did make a very bold statement, in coming and putting this out. It's such a important thing for people to know. And if I've seen a lot of videos, of Kashmiri Pandits watching the Kashmir Files all across the globe, them breaking down and things like that. Now, why would someone want to leave their homes all of a sudden? One. Why is all our problems, kind of small, and their problems is very big or something like that? Like, I'd like to quote our foreign minister who says, the West problems cannot be everybody's problems and our problems none, basically. That is one thing. Here is a movie which has put out such a touching subject, of people having to have leave their homes and things like that. And of course, people can come on the stage and say a lot of things, but the truth is, that, the truth hurts at the end of it. Why is it that nobody wanted to talk about it? I mean, it happened in the 90s. It's been, two and a half decades since it's happened. I think we need to talk about it. We need to show that, where we have been wronged, etc. And today, if you look at the whole narrative, basically, is that, we are talking about where we have been wronged and, what has happened to us. And we are on a course correction. And there's definitely a left liberal ecosystem which does not seem to be happy with it. And that is why, these kind of problems keep happening.
So what is even more, if we talk about hurting, is that it's not a matter of a foreign event that happened in India which has a foreign repercussion or something like that. It's a matter of India. The genocide took place on Indian soil, on Indians. And then when we talk about it, then somebody from the outside comes in and says, hey, that was not it's vulgar. So unfortunately, if we talk about the Holocaust also, it was also vulgar, but it has been, of course, it has been shown in very different manner. If we talk about, have been so many movies that have been made. If we talk about the most very popular ones that comes to my mind are Schindler's List and and Life is Beautiful. Of course, there are different ways of showing it, but it comes on the lines of that. Of course, the world has always acknowledged this thing, that the genocide of the Jews happened in the Nazi Germany camp. But when we say that, look, these Kashmiri Hindus were the part of India, they were the part of the culture of Kashmir, and they were ousted from their homes, ripped apart from thousands of years of civilization where their ancestors used to live. And when we make a movie about it, telling the harsh truth about it, then they say, even in India, when the film was released, there was a lot of backlash about the film. So why does Indians, we as Indians, people from our own community, don't want to own up to our own mistakes?
Yeah, exactly. If I look at it, Schindler's List, Oscars awards, Kashmir Files, vulgar propaganda. Okay, that itself shows such a divide there, basically. See, the problem is, from within. The thing is, what I would say is that I see a particular ecosystem, who think it is being very cool to talk anti-India. That is one thing. Okay, one thing. Anything that we are trying to say. You take this particular film, say, Vivek Agnihotri sir also, is trying to make something very different out there. But, they are okay with a different kind of a propaganda which is happening. And now this is something that is showing the truth, and they are not able to bear with it. That is because, this is a truth that has been concealed for years and years and years together. Anything that we say, now the thing is, when the partition of India also happened, some people were able to go there, some Hindus have remained there, some Sikhs have remained there, some Parsis have remained there, and you see the constant persecution which is happening. And then when we come out with the Citizenship Amendment Act out there, I don't know why there is so much of opposition to it. Here we are, who want to be so proud of our own civilization, who want to be so proud of our culture. And the thing is, and if I just may update Akash, the thing is, ICHR and ISRO are, getting into a memorandum of understanding to, sit and study the contribution that India had towards science. That is what I'm saying, the kind of thing which it is a change which is happening. It is a change which is happening. They're not able to deal with that change and things like that. In the sense, even in terms of a foreign policy, we are not quiet anymore. We say it out. We say it out loudly and all that. So why shouldn't we be proud as a nation at the end of it? And why if somebody comes, and then tells us that, our genocide didn't exist, and you call it vulgar propaganda? Forget those guys from outside doing it. When our guys cheer it by saying that there was nothing that happened. Yes, definitely there is 100% a Pakistan angle to what has happened there. But there is also one thing, a lot of locals there, the separatists, everybody has been part of that whole thing. And Akash, one more thing, it continues to happen today. There have been so many targeted attacks. I don't know why they don't want to acknowledge it.
Right, Vicky, and one more thing, Vicky. So, like, if you said about the partition part over there, and the partition of India into Pakistan, we have seen there have been a lot of movies made. One of the most popular movie is the Bollywood movie called Gadar, which showed the trials and tribunals of a man. Who went through the partition. So when the partition has been acknowledged by the world, then why not an exodus of a community who has been living on the same soil for years is always a very is always very ironic, that why people in our own country, for just their mere political agendas, it doesn't matter which side of the well do you sit in. It doesn't matter. But you should always be, thinking about that, it's the good of the country. It is the betterment for the country. The future generation should know that, what kind of mistakes were made in the past. And we should always learn through these mistakes. And rather than, brushing them under the carpet saying, oh, this never happened. So it definitely, pinches the heart of, all those 5 lakh Kashmiri Hindus who you very aptly put that, when they saw those kind of images on the silver screen, and when they relived those horrors, definitely tears will come out. And why was any government in the past or any filmmaker in the past was so inclined to talk about these kind of issues?
See, number one point is that the genocide of the Kashmiri Pandits was always there, spoken about. One thing, but as a government, were the past governments even acknowledging it? No. It was one event on history which they thought it was okay if it is there on Wikipedia. That's about it. Okay, fine. Today, when you're talking about it, okay, what have filmmakers over the past done? I mean, there was a movie, I don't recollect the name. I mean, you don't romanticize every issue, one thing. Okay. There are some stories which need to be told that this is what has happened. Now, when I see that, a person like Yasin Malik, it's taken so long for him to be arrested, which itself shows there was something so wrong with the system. An accused in the abduction of Rubaya Said, an accused in the murder of our brave IF soldiers, and accused in the genocide. And the same person, early 2000s, when there is a flood in Kashmir, is rescued by our Indian army, and he comes and talks everything anti-Indian. No, this is not what the country is. It is about reclaiming our culture, our respect, and telling the stories that we have, gone through. That is one thing. And also reclaiming this. So I would also say that, if you see there's a lot of criticism that has come from the film fraternity, especially when it comes to the Kashmir files. That is one thing. Because here is a person who's talking about a very bold subject, telling the story. Because that movie is made 400 crores at the end of it. Okay. You can't make money just out of propaganda, like the way these people are saying, they went to, the prime minister, they went this, ultimately, what, a product sells itself. That is one. Okay, that is one. So, problem is that these people have got, used to this, that, okay, let's say things again. See, the thing is, it's only now that, that in Kashmir, there are a set of journalists who are ready to call militants as terrorists. Militants is, kind of putting it in some, freedom fighter struggle, that one. They are not freedom fighters. This is our land at the end of. In fact, even in the last show when we were talking about, is that a guy like Amritpal Singh, when he comes in, that demand itself, when you say that, we want a separate country, itself is wrong. Okay, that is one. We may be a union of states or, all those kind of things, but we are governed by one constitution. And these people seem to have a problem that, we are abrogated Article 370. So, and as a result of which the Ranveer Penal Code is not there. How in one country is there a state that has a separate constitution and a separate Indian Penal Code or a penal code basically? Okay. So when you try to make that one at the end of it, actually, if you look at it, at history, there were many countries which are part of us. Pakistan was part of us, Bangladesh was there, Afghanistan. Now, within these states, you start taking out these kind of things, it becomes very, it gets very, very concerning at the end of it. So, this is an ecosystem that is there. They keep talking about it. But I think, as a country, we need to understand that we have a very proud culture. We have a very proud history. And the whole thing, Akash, if I have to put it in a nutshell, that, we mean something to the world today, and that is what they're not able to deal with.
Exactly, we can. We're meeting to the world, of course, and like a few days ago, even when Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, he came out, he said that India is always ready to recapture the part of Kashmir which has been illegally occupied by Pakistan. And after that, the Lieutenant General, the commander of the Northern Army, also said this thing that we are just an order away, and our armies are ready. And then a Bollywood celebrity comes out and reliving the incident of Galwan, and then there was a huge backlash, not only from different walks of life, but also from the Bollywood. Few other Bollywood, actors and actresses coming forward saying that what this actor has said has nothing to do with our fraternity, and what has been said is absolutely wrong. So why time and again, there is always somebody or another who always questions India's agenda, or why India is making such a headstrong statement.
Correct. Akash, other than celebrity, if I can call her a starlet, I would be happy actually. One thing. And I don't know, seriously, I don't understand. See, the problem is, you see, it's such a funny system. I mean, this Richa Chadha, she comes and says, Galwan says hi. Okay, one thing. And the next day, when she's clarifying, she's using her own Nana, who was an army officer, an excuse to show how patriotic it is. Which means they're such confused people. They do not know what is there. I don't know which ecosystem is feeding them to talk like this. That is one. Okay. But it cannot always be, see, Akash, I'll be very, very honest with one thing. Our army braves face a lot of things. Sometimes, you should have a word with these army wives of what they go through at the end of it. They deserve equal credit, because what they have their husbands there standing in the border. And to just come on Twitter and just objectify it and say Galwan says hi and things. I don't know. Do they believe in it? Yes, I do believe that they believe in it. And somehow these kind of statements just come out before some movie of theirs is supposed to be released. It is just this. It is an ecosystem, Akash. The thing is, I will tell you what the problem with these people is, that, the NGO funding has been tightened. One. Okay. There is a lot being spoken about, conversions which are happening. And so once the money flow stops, right, they start getting this one, take the case, they get foreign funding, and then, they use it for their own personal thing. And the first thing that happened after 2014 was, the tightening of the foreign funding of the NGOs, and the whole problem is linked back to that. Because aajkal to paisa nahi aa raha hai, that is one.
So of course, and now like the statement that moving back to the original idea of the show, the theme of the show that we were talking about. So now that the statement came out from the Israeli ambassador also, and he did a live with Anupam Kher, who was one of the actors in the movie. So do you think that these kind of on and off comments do they hamper India-Israel relationships, or they are as strong as always?
No, I don't think this left ecosystem is that strong that they can hamper relationship. Whatever said and done, because the world has really changed. I think the kind of relationship that we continue to have with Israel, we will continue to have. But one thing is always there. Let's always be prepared that there'll be someone to come and hamper it also. One. Okay, so that is the thing. I don't think, Akash, we as a nation have survived a lot, actually. We have survived a Mughal invasion. Okay. We have seen a Jallianwala Bagh. We have seen a Portugal invasion. We've seen a British invasion. We've seen a lot of this. I don't think these small-time, starlets or somebody who come and talk, or, that they are going to, mess up with our culture. Because I believe one thing is that we believe in inclusiveness, and we as a country are very strong, and we will cross through everything. Rest of the world, I don't know, but we will do that.
Well, on that note, thank you very much, Vicky, for joining me on Beyond the Headlines. And of course, as always, it has been a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Kashmir Files, that felt to us like a propaganda vulgar movie.